Hey everybody, Michigan here, back with another video for you, and this time I'm starting a new series called Caller Concepts. This is mainly geared towards new callers, but I'm sure seasoned callers could get something out of this, and it's just what I look for when I'm calling and how I create my calls. Now, as I'll talk about in a little bit or a separate video, the initial call does not define you as a caller. It's understanding what to do after the call that's important. So this video, if you can look up here, which we will be using StratSketch for, is called Map Coverage versus Map Control, and understanding what the difference is. So what is map coverage? To me, map coverage is what you can see, what you have visual on, and what you can spot. Map control is what you are able to effectively defend or attack out of. So let's take a look here based on a recent video that I put out in battle breakdowns for map coverage versus map control. Now, this battle breakdown, I believe this was episode 3, where we pushed most of our tanks to the hill and we left one down there. So my mouse here is in the middle of the screen if you can follow. So let's look at map coverage. Now you can kind of think about this on your end as I put these in here. So what can we realistically see? So let's start at the bottom and we'll work our way up. And we're going to use blue for map coverage and red for map control. So what does this IS-7 have coverage over? Right? Because he doesn't have control. What is one IS-7 going to do? Right? It's just one IS-7. Maybe if they bring one medium over there, but at this point we don't really know where the enemy is. So this IS-7 can see a lot of this area. Right? He can visually spot it. The IS-7 is a great spotting heavy tank, and he can cover that cap circle. Now, he may not necessarily be able to see all the way down here, but this is the general area that he can see. Now, these EBRs, right? We've got an EBR over here, let's say. I mean, he's going to be running this whole area. So this EBR can see basically anything in here. Maybe not that far. Let's do this again. And actually, this EBR can see a good bit out. Let's do that. We'll be a little bit generous. So that EBR can spot this. And what about this EBR? He can spot around here. Maybe there's a gap because of the church, but again, he is going to be rotating. And again, we have to take into account these bushes here, right? That's a pretty dense forest. So he's maybe going to be able to see parts of this, but not necessarily a lot. His vision is definitely hampered by this forest, hence why he's so close. So this is what we have mainly for our map coverage. Now, we can see a lot of weak points. One, we can't see into here. This is going to be difficult to spot because, again, this is all bushes. If this EBR was to move into here, maybe we would see it, and this IS-7 can cover the cap. So right now, I'm identifying this is our weak point, and that's okay. It's important to leave weak points open so that your enemy may try and exploit them, and then you can take advantage of that because you know they're coming there. Now let's look at map control. So our main force is up here. So right now we only have one real area of map control, and that's this. So what do we have control over? And again, we do have map control down here. However, the enemies aren't going to be down there because, again, we have coverage across this whole area, so the enemies aren't really going to be able to sneak through. So we have map control right through here. That's really it. Maybe we have a little bit more, but those aren't going to be easy. Again, it's all dense forest. So right now, the ratio is very off if we take a look at this. We have a lot of coverage, but again, coverage you can't defend. The enemies can exploit that. You can see them, but you can't stop them. And again, that's another good definition. So right now, we have control of this in this scenario. And again, you can watch this game, Battle Breakdowns episode. So we have control of this. Remember, we have 15 tanks, so -3, we have 12 vehicles up here. So what we're going to do in this battle is that we rotate a bunch of heavies, including this IS-7, down to here. So we should have 7 vehicles down here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we can remove this. And now let's take a look here. So all of our heavies are right in here, and again, they're actually more up, but that's okay. So now let's take a look at what we have for coverage versus control. Now, these IS-7s, I should really put in here, Anywhere where you have control, you have coverage. That should be pretty clear, because if you can stop them, you can also see them. So let's take a look at this. Now what do we have coverage on, or control on? Not blue, we're going to do red. My computer cooperates. There we go. So we can pretty much cover all of this. And now that's a lot better. Now, do we also have control over here? Yes, because we have, in, again, this scenario, this is 5 heavies, so we're just going to consider this IS-7s. 6 IS-7s are going to be able to heavily hamper any push that tries to come up here. Remember, they don't have any vehicles in this area. So 15 or 12 tanks or 6 tanks, you will be okay up there. Even if they do push 15 tanks up that area for whatever reason, you're still going to be able to do a lot of damage to them. And now, because we push down here, now let's take a look. We have coverage and control encircling the entire enemy here. And again, this is to break a camp. So this means that the enemies no longer, we don't have any real weak points. They could push through this area, again, because coverage, we can't stop it, but we can see it. But this is a very deadly area. We don't need to have control of this, because it's swamp, it's low ground resistances, there's a lake, and they're not going to be able to get out of here. So we could easily rotate vehicles over and down, and we wouldn't have any issue. So now we're going to do what we did next, which is we pushed all of these heavies across, because the enemies did not stop it. Right? We took out a couple of vehicles along the way. Alright, we're going to delete this. Now where do we have control? Remember, behind you doesn't really count. So now we have control over pretty much all of this. Because this is all flat, we can see everything in there. Now we're basically closing in on our control. At this point, we push heavies down to here. Right? Remember, the enemy's all camped out in. Alright, I can't get rid of that for some reason. That's alright. Now, where do we have control over? Basically, now it's overlapping, and this is what you want to get to. This right here is what we call a crossfire. Oh, that's not good. I'm really trying to get rid of that. That's right. Now we can pretty much delete these. We're good. So we do have some vision. That's not right. We do have vision into all of this, but we have pinned the enemies all the way back in here. And once you have this, it's game over. You have 2 areas which you can very easily defend. We'll just use orange here. And you have vision over everything else. Nothing is getting out of this without being spotted. So, but you can see the importance of it. Don't mistake the two. Just because you have one IS-7 down here does not mean you have control of that side of the map. You could see the enemies on cap all day, but if 5 tanks push this one IS-7, is he going to stop it? No. Right? Control is what you are able to realistically engage if you were to engage a good chunk of the enemy's force, normally about a half. Teams don't normally split up more than, or don't put more than half of their force in one spot for the majority of the game. We did it here just to gain control of the hill, but we quickly rotated vehicles down so that they couldn't exploit our weak point. Let's say that we had all these heavies. We're going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to show you what can happen if you don't get control of a lot of the map. Again, I'm hoping I'm not boring you too much. I'd love to see in the comments what you guys think of this, because I don't want it to be boring, and I hope it's informative. So we're going to reset all of this. So we still have control. Let's put our coverage back. For some reason that isn't working. There we go. Alright, And we have the one IS-7, the one heavy down here as well. And let's just get that back up, and we're going to reset. And we'll give them a little bit better, a little bit more realistic control this time. Okay, so again, the definition, coverage, you can spot, but you can't stop. Control, you can spot, and you can stop. So let's say we decide to push down into this area with everything we've got, right? We're going to take the overmatch. Right? We're rapidly gaining control of this side of the map. Now we're going to bloom this up. We've now got, nope, not blue. Right? We're gaining control of this whole area as we push down through it. Right? But what are we still lacking? Which is this. Right? This is still a weak point. So we're going to make sure that we spot this weak point. So we're going to move the IS-7 up right to here. Delete this. Right, now this IS-7, we've got vision over this whole area. However, the enemy have a lot of fast heavies and mediums, and they did in this scenario too. And now they're going to push. We're going to use some red. They're going to push a whole bunch of heavies down here. They've left several in here, right? Maybe they have something in this area. Maybe one or two. We're gonna have another one down here. They've got two EB. Right, maybe one's running in the middle. What's gonna happen in this area is that we're gonna spot this coming, but because we don't have any reserve forces, they're gonna run this over, get on cap, and what's gonna stop it? Two EBRs. This force is now tied up with the skeleton crew, who was baiting you, right, with the overmatch. And now you don't have control of it. Or you don't have, you can't get back to cover the cap. So, this video is quite long now. So, I just want to emphasize making sure that you cover all of your bases and that you have a plan in place to gain extra control of the map. Map control, if you think about it that way, now you've probably heard the term a lot, map control is super important. As much map control as you can get. But again, one tank is not map control. That's map coverage. Right? So we're identifying where the important parts of the map are to control and ensuring that you hold those and then using those vehicles effectively. So this is the first run with this video. Please, if you watch this, let me know what you think. I know there's no gameplay here. It's just me talking and drawing shapes on a map. So if this doesn't make any sense, please let me know. If it does make sense, if it's helpful, I really want to know as well. Even if you just say this is helpful or this sucks in the comment, I don't care. This isn't to try and improve my ratings. I really want to know. This is supposed to be enjoyable. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one if you guys like this video. All right, bye.